When my dad was around 50, he got an African grey. He always loved parrots his whole life, so I was happy for him to get one after his retirement. He named the bird Kevin. My dad taught Kevin a whole vocabulary of words, and he actually trained him to understand the meaning behind certain words, like hello, what's up, food, thank you, good, and a few others. My dad passed away at 70, and with that came the time to figure out, amongst my siblings and I, what would happen to Kevin. My brother and sister didn't want the responsibility of taking Kevin into their homes, plus their spouses were against it too, but I couldn't bear the idea of giving him away to a new home. Kevin was and is one of the last connections to my dad. In a sense, that was his best friend, so I decided I would take him into my home. I put his cage in the den of my house. My house doesn't have a basement, so the den is considered the lowest level of the house. Kevin is a moderately noisy bird. He can be a chatterbox some hours of the day, usually earlier on, but later in the day and night, he quiets down. When he's too noisy, I'll throw a blanket over his cage, and that normally quiets him down. I watch TV in the den at night to keep him company. Then around 10, I'll migrate to my room to let him go to sleep. That's pretty much the backstory behind Kevin. I've been taking care of him for 2 years now, so I know exactly how he behaves, and when he's acting out of the ordinary. Speaking out of the ordinary, there was this one night in December, around 11 PM, that Kevin started making sounds while I was trying to sleep. I sleep with the door open since I live alone and need to be able to hear anything if something's going on in the house. Hearing him making a squawking noise past dark, especially this late at night, is unusual, beyond doubt, and something was irritating him. I went down to the den to see what was bothering him. He was wide awake on the lower perch of the two in the cage. He looked at me and was saying things like hello and what's up and his name. All the while he was nodding his head up and down, moving his whole body in the process, as if he was dancing. I tried to feed him, but he didn't eat, so I covered him with a blanket, hoping he would stop. I was in the kitchen when I stopped inside, because he was still making the noises, and I had a feeling he wasn't gonna stop. Having work the next day, I couldn't afford to lose sleep because of him. I really didn't know what to do. I'm still to this day not exactly a bird expert. I went back downstairs and uncovered him. He was still doing his little dance, bobbing his head and body, and making this distress sound. It didn't click with me until thinking I heard something in the pantry closet, a few feet away from this cage. I walked over to it and hovered my hand over the light switch to the pantry, which was outside of the door. The door has one of those big glass panels that many pantry doors have, so when I flicked on the light switch, I saw the outer line of a body inside. My fight or flight response kicked in and I chose fight. I opened the door screaming, trying to get my adrenaline rushing, and I grabbed the man in the pantry closet out and threw him to the floor. He tried to fight back, but I easily overpowered him and had him what I could best describe as a chokehold. He was a 50-something-year-old homeless looking man with the smell to match it. I yelled at him, "Who are you? Why are you in my house?" He tried grabbing my face to possibly gouge my eyes or something, but I continued to wring his neck and punch him. During all this, Kevin was going berserk in his cage. When the man on the floor seemed weak enough, I literally sprinted for the nearest phone and came right back and kept him on the ground while I called 911. The man was taken to jail, but he had no ID on him, nothing. He was homeless and had nothing to his name, and as such he considered what some people call judgment proof, meaning even if we tried to sue him, I wouldn't get anything from him. He raided my pantry closet that night and had opened jars of peanut butter, boxes of cookies and crackers, and all sorts of other boxed and canned food. If it wasn't for my dad's parrot, I don't know what else that man would have taken or done in my house. I'm grateful for Kevin, and I like to think part of my dad is watching over me in that bird. This story takes place when I was a junior in high school. For context, here's a little background information. Back in the day, I was a pretty involved student, took all the hard classes, and was in a few varsity sports. In one of these ways, I was always busy and didn't have much time for myself, and a part of me was thankful for that. It provided me an escape from a world where my parents had recently parted ways, and my older brother had just gone to college. It was just me and my little brother then. He was also a swimmer and a smart kid in his own right. We were very similar even to this day, but probably because of the stresses of our family situation put on us at the time. We didn't get along nearly at all. One of those wet winter days in the Midwest, I'd put in my time at school and swim, and I still had to sit down for several hours of homework. This time I had to write an essay for some advanced class that I wasn't really interested in. I dropped my swim bag at the door when I got home and looked around my house to see if anyone was home. Empty. Dad must be out with Reese at swim practice. His team club had a slot at the pool after the high school team was done. I popped in a mouthful of Cheez-Its and headed down to the basement to my office to get some schoolwork done. The house was a middle-class 2-story with an unfinished basement, with the exception of what I referred to as my office. From a career past, my dad used to work from home, but no longer did, so my family, or what was left of it, just called it Quinn's office. So I made my way across the concrete floors and unattached carpet samples down there to the one finished out room in the basement. I flicked on the CFL light. It was like any other night after practice. I still had hours of homework to do, so I turned on the computer and started typing away. I was typing for what seemed like an hour, trying to bring to words to what the concept of hedonism and the pictures of Dorian Gray meant to me, as best as I could, or as convincingly as I could. Out of the dark, I heard my little brother call out to me, Quinny, come up." Almost reflexively, I called back to him, "Reese, I'm working, what do you need?" We would yell through the house like brothers do, but it took me a minute to realize I didn't hear him come home. I got no response only for a couple of minutes though. Again I heard my little brother's voice sing out, Quinny, come up." It felt strange hearing those words carry across the dark concrete floor. He's supposed to be at swim practice. I called out to him asking if he needed anything, but again I received no answer. I thought about just starting my essay again, but the family situation was delicate at best, and I didn't want to be in trouble if my little brother actually needed something. I made the decision to get up and go find out myself. I bounded up the basement staircase the only way a high schooler can, and I called out again for my brother. "Reese, what's up? I'm really busy." I checked all around the main floor looking for my little brother, or even signs he was home. No shoes, no backpack, so he wasn't home, and there was no car in the driveway either. The only reason my dad would be gone right now would be to pick him up. Satisfied, I turned back for the stairs when I heard my little brother's voice ring out.
Quinny, come up.
This time every hair on my body stood on its end. It just didn't make sense. He had to be at practice, and if he really needed me, he would have come to me. I go to the base of the second floor stairs and call out to him one more time. "Reese, what's going on? Are you okay?" For a minute, no answer. "Reese, I'm really busy. Can you tell me what's up?" It's quiet for way too long as I stared up the dark staircase. Logically, I had no reason to believe anyone was up there, until I heard Reese's voice calmly speak this time, and not call out his sing-song way. Those same 4 words. Quinny, come up." What I asked under my breath. I couldn't comprehend the situation. I did a quick inventory of any probable scenario. Breaking in, wrong voice, a prank. I would have seen something at this point. It had to be Reese, and maybe helping him would make me a good brother. So I began up the stairs, my heart pounding with each step, and I was about to make the landing to the dark second floor. Then I heard the buzz of the garage door motor. I ran back down the stairs and looked out the window. It was my father's sedan, and him and my little brother got out. I stumbled from the window to the hall where they would enter, and I felt my heart almost stop beating. I collapsed on the floor and just started crying uncontrollably.